Alright my dear friends, how are you doing today? It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today we have some very big Star Wars updates. Boba Fett has been snubbed again. We've also got some movie updates and a very interesting opinion piece by a journalist who interviewed me 5 years ago. You don't want to miss it, stay tuned to the end. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So 3 years on from the Book of Boba Fett, it really feels as though Disney and Lucasfilm want Star Wars fans to forget it was ever even a thing. I know it sounds exaggerative, but I'm serious, you're gonna see why. By all accounts, Temuera Morrison is not returning for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Ming-Na Wen now says the same thing. There are rumours circulating that Temuera Morrison is going to be in Ahsoka Season 2 as Captain Rex, but when it comes to the return of Boba Fett, at least in live action because he might appear in Tales of the Underworld, no one really seems to know. Star Wars Celebration is this coming weekend, and with a Mandalorian and Grogu panel which hopefully will give us a teaser trailer or a cast announcement, they might say something about the return of Boba Fett there. Even if Tem is not in the movie, maybe they'll say he will be back in something else. But when it comes to the Book of Boba Fett, there is more evidence Lucasfilm wants Star Wars fans to forget it. And if you're someone who's watching this who didn't like the show, you might be saying, well Meg, I want to forget the Book of Boba Fett too. Fair enough. But for all of its flaws, for all of the unevenness, and all of the wasted potential, it definitely had some amazing moments. Luke meeting Ahsoka, the Mandalorian episodes, the Darksaber scenes, the armor-speaking Mandoa, and even the Tusken Raider flashbacks. There definitely were some special moments. But today it gets worse. Months after Disney Plus Star Wars shows drop, Lucasfilm tends to release an art of book. These tend to showcase the concept art and some of the designs. The Book of Boba Fett never received one, but they just announced the other day the Acolyte is getting one. Now here's the thing, Boba Fett isn't alone. Both Ahsoka and the first season of Andor didn't get one either, but both of those shows did get physical releases, and they were renewed for a season 2. All 3 seasons of The Mandalorian were also released on Blu-ray, but not the Book of Boba Fett. And this isn't a discussion about quality. You guys know I think Andor is the very best of Disney Plus Star Wars. Boba Fett definitely ranks as one of the weakest, but in terms of concepts, aliens, droids, overall designs, there was a collector's guide, but nothing intricate like an art of book. And here's what I think a lot of people are missing, because every time I bring this up, I get comments saying Book of Boba Fett was terrible, it should be ignored. I really sympathize and I felt that frustration myself. But something we can't deny, whether we like the show or we don't, is that Book of Boba Fett gave us some of the most important moments for the future of the Mandoverse. Think about it. Mando's new ship, Grogu making the vital decision to not train under Luke, setting up that Ahsoka knows Luke, Cobb Vanth's future, the future of Tatooine, the return of the Hutts, which I've heard might be important for the Mandalorian and Grogu. There is a lot the Book of Boba Fett set up, even if you don't like it, that will come into play in future seasons of The Mandalorian, whether it's on the big screen or the little screen. The Book of Boba Fett is very important. Writing choices were definitely weird. I don't like the way they handled Boba himself. It should have been much more like The Godfather. It lacked so much grit and guts. However, there are moments we have to hold on to, because those were important for The Mandalorian Season 3, and are going to be important beyond it. I really feel bad for Temuera Morrison. Lucasfilm has been penalising him, sidelining the character who really should have had some role in The Mandalorian's 3rd season. We were there on Tatooine. In Season 2 they canonically established Jango Fett was a foundling. They established a core connection between Boba and Mandalore, and yet, none of that played into the return at the end of Season 3. And yes, he voiced the clones in the Order 66 flashback, but I'm talking about Boba Fett himself. So Lucasfilm is very confusing, sending mixed messages, but what seems to be obvious is they're really snubbing Tem and the character of Boba Fett. Because I know plenty of fans who didn't like Book of Boba, but they want to see him again. They want to see him in the same role he was in Season 2. But, as Boba Fett Fan Club pointed out, The Acolyte came out a year ago and it's getting 4 books. The Book of Boba Fett came out in 2021 and it's still missing an art book. You might say it's not a big deal, but I definitely feel bad for Temuera Morrison. I believe him when he says he doesn't know when he's going to return. I can tell you this, those who are in the know about The Mandalorian and Grogu haven't heard anything about Boba Fett being in it, so I wouldn't expect him there. Maybe in Ahsoka Season 2 or Dave Filoni's movie, but at the moment, Lucasfilm doesn't have big plans for him. Maybe an animated form in Tales of the Underworld, but in the Mandoverse, it's a major question mark. And I don't think you can say it's due to backlash, because The Acolyte received harsher criticism and yet, they're still releasing stuff for it. But moving on, my dear friends, we have another rumour for the Shawn Levy movie. Sarah Snook is another member of the cast. We were told the other day the Shawn Levy movie is going to come sooner than we think, and I do expect an update at Celebration. But now we have another actress. She was great in Succession, but she's also known for Predestination, Memoir of a Snail, and Run Rabbits Run. And so now, my dear friends, we're going to look at an opinion piece. As we approach the premiere of Andor, we need to talk about this. The Wall Street Journal put out a very interesting article. Star Wars is in a slump. Is Andor its only hope? Now these days, whenever a news topic comes out, I just give it to you guys straight. I just share with you my opinion on the news, and I'm not as quick as maybe I once was to comment on what other media outlets are saying unless they're giving a different perspective, which I find interesting. But for today's news, I find what the Wall Street Journal said very spot on. And it's not the first time we're talking about this. Star Wars is definitely in a slump. I do see a lot of people try and justify the state of Star Wars at the moment, and they say, well, Star Wars has gone through many waves of different ups and downs, and how it will bounce back. While I definitely don't have any doubt Star Wars will shine again, we are experiencing a very unusual low. And it's one which has been a long time coming with a mountain of reasons behind it. Even the other day I was just browsing through X and I see people saying, where is all the excitement for Andor Season 2? It's fans of the first season, but there isn't this widespread hype as one might expect for an upcoming Star Wars show. And it is true, whether it's Google Analytics, YouTube Analytics, the excitement for new Star Wars, which we saw very prominently in the late 2010s and early 2020s, has very much dwindled. And even among fans who are excited for Andor Season 2, there are plenty who are saying this is their last hope. They don't trust Disney Star Wars with anything else, they don't care about the Mandalorian and Grogu, they don't care about Ahsoka, Andor Season 2 is it. And so this article from the Wall Street Journal is very relevant. We're about a week and a half out from Andor's final season, and so it's the best time to talk about this. Now, I have personally had a very interesting relationship with the Wall Street Journal. And I actually know this guy, John Jurgensen. I was interviewed back in 2020 before The Mandalorian Season 2. He reached out to me and said, I want to interview you as an up-and-coming YouTuber, as a Star Wars fan, and he wanted to talk to me about The Mandalorian and the phenomenon of Baby Yoda. This was a few months before the name reveal of Grogu. So I'm interested to see what John has to say. So contrast the article he wrote in 2020, all about the hype of Baby Yoda, versus now, Star Wars is in a slump. Here we go. Tony Gilroy is a Jedi of screenwriting. But if only Gilroy could sell everyone on the show he spent the last 6 years crafting. I can't get people who've loved all my work to watch it because you know it's Star Wars, he said. It just drives me crazy. Andor, the series he created, has a rarefied place in a galaxy far, far away. Hits like The Mandalorian have been harder to come by in recent years for the franchise, which has dealt with cancelled movie projects and panned TV shows. That has raised fears of stagnancy amongst a fan community that's been more pissed off than passionate. And this is really the crux of it. Fan frustrations have been mounting. There is still passion, but it's from those who want Star Wars to see better days, who want nothing more than Star Wars to thrive again. It is from this mentioned passion that the anger originates. They say Andor, which debuted in 2022 and earned an Emmy nomination for Best Drama Series, became a bright spot for fans and the franchise's reputation, if not a ratings hit, because it didn't get many views, but those who watched it loved it. It's a show for grown-ups, featuring spycraft, heists, and sophisticated political themes. Nobody brandished a lightsaber or mentioned the Force in the first season. The plot follows the sketchy beginnings of the rebel movement. The article goes on to talk about the budgets, and how Tony Gilroy and Kathleen Kennedy acknowledge a show like this could never happen again. Star Wars is moving back to the big screen. Andor is really the final TV show that's going to do something on this scale. A show that didn't get the best viewership for the first season, but was renewed and still received a big budget. So those at Lucasfilm are very aware of what's going on. As naive as they've been, I think they finally understand. The fandom is in a very different place to where it was only 3, 5 or even 10 years ago. There are still passionate diehards. I mean, I talk about Star Wars on a daily basis. Fans will have different remedies, different suggestions about what Lucasfilm can do better. But one consistent idea you'll see time and again, formulate a plan and stick to it. Very simply, whether it's a trilogy, a new time period, whatever they want to do, take some time away, learn from the mistakes, and bring Star Wars back after a period of nostalgia. Fans have kept Star Wars alive through all of the ups and downs. It's ironic, because during a time where we have too much content, both relevancy and interest have slipped. So we need less of the overpromising, where only half of the projects are made, and give the Star Wars franchise a new fresh breath of life.